Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to show number 110 with the Hippie Pastor. That would be me. I'm here to give you the true interpretation on the words of Jesus and set you free and deliver you from orthodox, fundamentalist, evangelical Christians who try to bring the letter of the law rather than the spirit, and they try to bring the condemnations of the Old Testament and the condemnations of the Apostle Paul to the New Testament of freedom, of love, of Jesus, the Jesus revolution. See, here we don't believe in the whole Bible. We just believe in the words of Jesus, and we believe in the Psalms of David. See, I got the Bible here. I took out several parts that I don't agree with, you know. You don't have to agree with everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you the true interpretation of Jesus because I love Jesus. He's a good man. Very opposite from Christianity. And now, to make a long story short, before we dive into the words of Jesus, because we're pressed for time, and we're on Matthew chapter 13, I want to make a statement. You know, I've been getting a lot of people, throughout. I was in the Children of God Family of Love organization directed by David BERG, also known as Moses David. I was a full-time member for 16 years, then I was like an independent member for maybe 10 more years after that, until finally I came to the realization that I don't agree with any Christian group. I agree just with God and freedom, and to interpret things the way you so desire, and that you don't have to be a slave to nobody or be under anybody's interpretation, because nobody has the true interpretation, only me, and that would be love. Love is the only one and true interpretation, the name of God. And the only way to interpret the Bible, so you got to be like me, a cafeteria Christian. I pick what I like and I leave the rest. I just want to make a statement about this. You know, I went through a period in my life when I was very high on drugs. I was a drug addict, you know. I started my drug career when I was 14, and then by the time I was 21, I was on the verge of suicide. I hated Christians, and I still do. So I went into the desert and I fasted for 8 days and 8 nights, seeking God before my final decision of committing suicide. And I did find God, the Spirit, not in a church, not in a religion, only in nature, in the beach. The Spirit of love, the Spirit of eternal life. I was born again in beauty. But then all my friends were drug addicts, and people on the verge of on the limits of the law. So I felt I needed to associate with God people, you know, spiritual beings, what have you. But I just could not adapt to any Christian denomination. I could not until I found the Children of God organization led by Moses David and David BERG. And they had a cool interpretation that was more akin to the hippies, more akin to me, because they believed that Jesus had a sex life, you know, they was cool. And they were, besides being missionaries full-time, it was a commune. They had communes. It was all young people, ex-hippies. And, you know, and they lived together and they shared everything. But the thing that came to my attention was that they were genuinely happy. I had never met Christians, even missionary Christians, that were genuinely happy. You know, most of the Christians I met were hard hearts, condemning, pointing the finger, condemning sinners, thinking they're the only ones going to heaven. But these people, the Children of God and Moses David, they were genuinely happy, and they were all about love. That's the way it was. Then the group started taking a different turn and becoming more cultish, if I may say so, you know. And then you know, David BERG, he was a good. He wrote. Anybody who says that his writings are no good is a fool. He wrote some beautiful writings, especially what they call the basic mole letters. The basic writings of David BERG were absolutely masterpieces, and you can get a lot out of them. Just because he fell in disgrace, or in sin, or fell from whatever, it doesn't mean that everything he did was wrong. I mean, I still read them to this day. I get energy from them. They're beautiful, his basic writings. But the thing with me was that I never was able to worship a human being. See, David Berg, besides being an extremely talented man, also had some faults, in the closet. He had skeletons in the closet. I guess it came out later in the wash. But that's why I was never. Plus, being a New Yorker, it was hard for me to worship a hillbilly. Nothing bad, nothing bad about all my hillbilly friends, but I was brought up that way. Just like you hillbilly people don't like New Yorkers, Now I'm over that, man. I'm free. I got friends of all different. I realize there's good and bad in everything. But the thing is that it was hard for me to worship Moses David. He was a country boy. But he didn't need me to worship him. He worshipped himself, He said that the Bible, that in the Old Testament, in Ezekiel chapter 34, it was all about him. That he was the great David, because his name is David Berg. He was the great David that was going to lead God's children in the end time. That was him specifically. So then his followers also worshipped him. Many of them. And just to show you how human nature, they're always trying to worship flesh and blood, a man, trying to find somebody to worship. Just goes to show you that the greatest, and he said that himself, that the greatest ass kissers, the greatest man pleasers, would end up being the greatest enemies. So then you have these groups, attacking the children of God and Moses David, even to this day, saying that they were abused. And I want to add something before I just stop with this subject, because I'm tired of it, is that if anybody was abused when they were young, underage, in the Children of God family organization, don't blame it all on David Berg. Don't blame it all on David Berg or any people, abusers like the leadership were very abusive. Don't blame it all on them. Blame it on your parents, okay? Because your parents allowed it. If your dad would have been more of a man, he would have beat the living crap. I was a single dad, and I had my son in the group with me in one of the communes. Me and my son, he was a little tot, 5, 6, 7 years old. When he was like 9 or 10, that's when we got excommunicated. But the thing is that nobody knew, everybody knew better. If there were any pedophiles or sexual abusers, everybody knew better not to even look at my son, because I would have killed them. I would have grabbed a baseball bat and busted their head. That's how much I love my son, and that's how much I felt about that shit. But the people that allowed their children to be sexually abused, shame on them. Shame on them. Don't go around blaming it all on David Berg or on the Children of God leadership. Blame it on your parents that allowed it. Because if your parents would have had a little bit of balls, they would have grabbed a baseball bat and busted the abusers on the head and busted their head. I'm serious. What kind of parents is that? That let some religious people sexually abuse your children and don't say nothing and don't take action. So blame it on your parents and get over it. Get over it, because God allowed it. God allowed everything in your life that happened, good or bad or regular. So God allowed it. So get over it. Take a lesson from it, and don't be harboring blame and blaming people, and then being a mediocre person because you're just trying to find somebody to blame for your life. Get over it. Get up and be a success. And use the bad things and good things, everything in your past. Once you accept it, then you'll understand it. Use it to your advantage, to become experienced, to be able to help others. Enough said. Don't bother me again with this question. Don't be stupid. Well, I think we got a couple of minutes here for the words of Jesus. Okay, we're in Matthew chapter 13, here's verse 13, chapter 13, verse 13. Jesus speaking. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Okay, so they had asked him why he speaks in parables to the outsiders, to the public and the general public when Jesus was out there, gathering the multitudes and teaching them. And that's what he answered the disciples, because the people their eyes are closed, and so he had to speak unto them in parables like to little children to help them understand the glory of God. But blessed are your eyes, for they see. So it's all in the heart, man. Open your heart. Get the bitterness, your hate and your stupidity out of your brain and out of your heart, and fill yourself with love and forgiveness. And then you will understand. And then you will understand. See, they will understand and they'll be converted. They'll be filled with God's love. I love every single one of you, like if you were my own flesh and blood, like Jesus. Who are my mother and my brothers and sisters? You guys. You guys that love God enough to listen to this old man telling you the way it is and telling you the true interpretation of the words of Jesus Christ. May God bless your soul, be happy, and be safe. Thank you very much.